What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, an international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker, Jeff Marconette Jr. Guys, I am so unbelievably pumped up because I have a guest tonight that is an amazing guy, and he is a champion. But we are going to teach you how he became a champion through whatever happened. So, if you would, please share this episode out. Invite all kinds of people to watch it because I know this man's story will definitely impact somebody's life. Heck, it may even save a life. But so I also ask you if you would keep the conversation going. So in the comments, talk to people, talk to us, ask as many questions as you like. And don't forget to give us all kinds of thumbs up, hearts, frowny faces, cry faces. Heck, you can even get mad at us. Just help us trick the algorithms on any of the social media networks that we're on. And with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Mr. Tucker himself. Hello, Curt. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing awesome, Jeff. I'm super excited to be here with you and your guests, your family, your tribe that you've created, man. All the awesome stuff that you're up to, and I love what you stand for, man. Making every second count. In my book, I talk about those 86,400
400
seconds
seconds.
that we get every single day to utilize the gifts that God has given us to make an impact in the world. So, man, I'm excited to be here with you tonight, my friend.
That is awesome. So, Curt, if you would like to take it away, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do. And I'm going to be inviting a few people on my phone, so I'm looking down, but I am paying attention at the same time.
All good, man. All good. Well, my name is Curt Tucker. I am from the great state of Ohio. Go Bucks.
Oh, wait!
And let's go, IO. I live in Troy, Ohio. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Rachel, of 19 years. We have 4 children together. And I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I like to say I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an evangelist, and I'm an encourager. And so I've spent most of my years in the fitness business, owning and operating different gyms, helping people live their best life through health and fitness. I now own a marketing and consulting company called Gym Growth Experts, where we work with gyms all across the country, helping them grow and
Wow.
scale their gym, as well as the founder of Champion Builders Academy, where we help men go next level in the 5 F's, I like to say: their faith, their fitness, their family, their finances, and have fun doing it, creating what I like to call the champion life. So that's me, man. And once again, I'm excited to be here with you tonight to just hopefully give some wisdom, some nuggets to those people who are wanting to go next level and ultimately achieve their own champion life while making every second count, man, in their life. So glad to be here once again.
Again, I have to say that was amazing. And it sounds like you are an extremely busy person. And I find that to be awesome. It's nice to see that there are people in the world that are putting their efforts out there. And I definitely appreciate that. So I personally know from my own circumstance. You see, I was in a car wreck. I spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital. I wasn't supposed to be walking right now, but I am. And I know that there are some things that life tends to put in the way and likes to throw us off course, and it likes to discourage our dreams from happening. And I think that we have to grow through things in life. I don't think we have to just go through them, but we have to take a lesson from each of those experiences and grow from them. So, has there been anything that you have had to grow through on your journey to becoming a champion?
Mm, man, that's a great question. I could go in a lot of different directions, but I think I want to go in the direction, Jeff, that I think will have the greatest impact on the audience tonight. And so, when you understand the definition of champion, friends, it's a dual purpose, it's a dual meaning. So most of us understand the athletic vernacular of a champion, right? All of us who have played sports understand that the ultimate goal is to be a champion, right? It's to rise to the top, it's to be the very best in everything we do. But the other vernacular of a champion is to be a defender of purpose. It's to fight on behalf of someone else, helping them achieve their dream. See, Jeff, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I wouldn't have been so blessed to have some incredible people that have come alongside me over the years to help me. I think that started many, many years ago when I was in junior high or high school when I met my spiritual father, Mike Slaughter, right? He was the first person that I can really remember believing in me because of the environment that I grew up in, guys. My dad was in and out of prison. My mom was, did her best to raise us. Very quickly, I was in a lot of trouble, didn't graduate high school. Very early, I met my wife at the ripe age of 21. And so
Ooh,
so
young
you
love.
that's right. So I met my wife. She was older than me by 10 years, been married twice, had two kids, and we brought two very dysfunctions together, which created a lot of adversity in our early years of marriage, which led to alcoholism, sex addiction, drugs. I bankrupted our family in our early 20s. Our house was foreclosed, our cars was repossessed. We were on food stamps. And all those things, as you said, Jeff, they didn't just happen to me, they happened for me. They forced me to understand that I needed leadership because I didn't have any leadership growing up. I didn't have anybody to show me that there was a way that you could live that could create abundance, that could create freedom, that could create victory. Everything that I talk about in my book, The Champion Life, so all those things that I had to go through, or like you said, that I had to grow through, set me up to where I am today, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a husband, as a father. So, those things in the early years were things that I'm so grateful and thankful that I had to go through and then I had to grow through. So I could go in a lot of different directions of adversity, but I will just say this, that if you've gone through those things, or maybe you're going through things right now, here's my encouragement to you is don't use that as an excuse. Don't use that as a reason to stay where you're at. Okay. As a coach, when I work with men, one of the first things that I do is I help them create a new vision for their life because I don't want them to stay stuck in the past. We all have a past. We all have things that have happened to us, some things that are of our own doing, because we all make dumb mistakes. We all make bad decisions for lack of wisdom. But there's also some things that happen to us that's unfortunate, that wasn't something that we necessarily did, right? It just happened. But at the end of the day, we can either stay there or we can decide to set a new vision for our life. And then all of a sudden to begin to start creating a new plan of execution. And most importantly, we can begin to start taking action on that preferred future. Those are just some of the things that I decided to do. And I know that it's possible for anybody who just decides, hey, listen, I want more out of life. And so, man, I could talk all day long about adversity, Jeff. I've been
Yeah.
through a lot of it myself, but I like to focus more on possibility, understanding that when we focus on the vision and the things that we want for our life, we tend, as the good word says, as a man thinketh in his heart, he becomes. Where the mind goes, the man follows. And so when we can get a strong vision for our life, anything is possible.
Yes, that is amazing. Now I know you talk about the good book there, and I assume that is the Bible, correct?
100%. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Well, I'm not really familiar with a lot of the Bible, but I do know that Jim Rohn said much of the things that are very similar to that. So
Yes.
I like that. That's
And
a
I
very
love Jim Rohn, Jeff. And you know why I love Jim Rohn? If you see behind me, for those of you who are live or can see this on a video, you'll see in my office here, there's a line of journals that for the last 14 years,
wow.
every morning of my life, and my journal is right here beside me. And when I coach men, I tell them everything goes into my journal. My morning devotions go in my journal, my goals go into my journal. Anytime I have an important business meeting, those notes go into my journal. My sermon notes at church go into my journal. If I have a key meeting, or I've invested over $150,000, Jeff, in personal coaches, and I put all that stuff in my journal. So over the last 14 years, it's all
Wow,
right here. And
that's
I
a
say that
lot.
because Jim Rohn said that he said two important things. Number one, you will become the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. Think about that for a second. If you're not where you want to be at in your life, you need to really ask yourself the question, who am I surrounding myself with? But he also said this, that legacy is not always about, what we think, but it's really about, those life pictures. And it's about those journals that we will leave our kids and their kids, that wisdom. So someday I know that my kids and my grandkids generations will be able to look into these journals and say, you know what, this is how Curt lived. This everything is in here. I don't if somebody found my journal, Jeff, I used to not want to put stuff in there because I was like, well, what if people find this maybe in the early 2009, 2010, 2011, when I first started this 14 years ago. And then I thought, you know what? Tim Goad said this. If you want to impress people, tell them about your successes. But if you want to truly empower people, tell them about your messes. And so everything in this
Wow.
journal, everything goes in this journal. My successes, but also my failures. Because if somebody found this, I would want them to say, you know what? This guy was authentic. He
Yeah.
truly wanted to serve people. He truly wanted to become better every single day in every single way. And so that's why these journals, I believe, are so important. And that's one of the reasons why I love Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, and a lot of those other influencers.
Yes. Great men out there. I love like all their personal development that you can find for free on YouTube and Spotify and where else?
YouTube and Spotify is a great, those are two good ones, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is there anywhere else that I'm forgetting though?
I mean, there's so much now you can get just from, Facebook, Instagram, I mean, there's so many different reels, little tiny, but I would say podcast and YouTube is where I go, and obviously books, right? I'm always reading 10 pages a day from good books. I love to read, you mentioned the Bible, for those of you who are maybe are not Bible scholars, even if you weren't a Christian, even if you didn't love Jesus like I do, the Bible is such an incredible book of wisdom and encouraging stories that I love to just share the Bible and sometimes tell people, if you just read the Bible just because it was such an incredible book full of wisdom, you would get a lot out of it, regardless of your faith. So
Yeah. That great advice. And guys, so we're talking here about personal development and we are telling you that we do personal development. And I just want you to realize that while we are on this podcast and we're trying to help other people, we help ourselves in the first place.
yes.
We do what a lot of people use the analogy here. We fill our cup before we fill others because we can't fill your cup if we talk from an empty cup. So
That's
it's
good.
very important that you take care of yourself. Self care is a big thing in the world today. And I know he actually owns some gyms, and I used to actually work out at one. I'm no longer an Anytime Fitness member, but it's all right. So I think that is a great way to add to yourself. But I have to ask now. You talked a little bit there about coaching. Do you think that coaching is beneficial for everyone? And what is somebody's first step if they want a coach?
Yeah, sure. Well, I would say yes. And the reason why I would say that coaching is beneficial for anybody is not because I'm a coach, because I think sometimes people could say, oh, well, they're just trying to sell me something or whatever. And first of all, if you think that everybody is trying to sell you something, that's a very skeptical mindset. That's a very scarcity mindset. I choose to live in an abundant mindset. But if you really break down and look at the top athletes in the world, let's look at Olympic athletes, for instance, or professional athletes. Every single one of those athletes, not they don't just have one coach, they have multiple coaches. If you
Yeah.
look at Tom Brady, who is, arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live, he had a nutrition coach. He had a fitness coach. He had a mindset coach. He had a person that continuously worked on his body. But then, as one of the best quarterbacks in the world, when he played football, he had a head coach that coached him. He had a quarterbacks coach that coached him, right? Like he
Yeah.
had multiple coaches surrounding him that at the end of the day did one thing for him, made him better. And that's what a coach should do. So if you're looking for a coach, when you're in a hiring process, if you will, of a coach, I can share with you that the one thing that I look for is, does this coach have what I have? If I'm looking for a marriage coach, I don't want to hire somebody who's, been divorced 3 times and is in another relationship. If I'm hiring a finance coach, I don't want to hire somebody who's broke. If I'm hiring a fitness coach, I don't want to hire somebody who's, out of shape and overweight and doesn't have good habits when it comes to their eating, their nutrition, so forth and so on. So, so when you look for a coach, and then I'll say this last thing. I firmly believe in this statement, Jeff, that I'm getting ready to say, is that, at the end of the day, what really matters is, does somebody care about you? See, because when you know that somebody cares about you, you're going to be more willing to let them be, to tell you the truth and for you to be vulnerable. Because, see, we all have things that we struggle with every single day, right? Things that at the end of the day, we don't follow through on things. We don't think we're enough, right? We struggle with belief, we struggle with doubt, we struggle with all those things. And when you can finally find a coach that you can be authentic to, you can be transparent with, you can really truly share the deep stuff that goes in your mind, the things that you really struggle with, and you know that they're there to love you and serve you and really truly help you, that is a game changer. See, at the end of the day, that's what I really strive towards is, of course, a coach should get paid what they're worth. And you don't want to go hire a cheap coach, by the way. You get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, so yes, I believe that every person should have a coach. And then I also believe that at the end of the day, you should hire a coach that has a success rate in whatever you need help with. See, most of the guys that I coach, many of them will come to me and they'll say, "Hey, Curt, I want to make more money." And I say, "Hey, that's awesome. I'm all about you making more money. So if we need to double your income and you're at 10,000 a month, how do we get you to 20? If you're at 20, how do we get you to 40? If you're at 40, how do we get you to 80,000 a month? You're making $1 million a year." But while we do that, let's make sure, because as Tony Robbins says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. The last thing I would ever want to do to help a guy, because I coach mostly men, is that he would make a bunch of money, but in the process, he would lose the most important things in his life, like his wife, like his kids, like his faith. At the end of the day, none of that stuff really matters, as far as the money, if you lose the most important things. So a good coach, at the end of the day, we all know what we should do, but it's really a matter of following through and being consistent in that action. So a good coach is going to, for me, has saved me time, it's saved me money, and it's helped me have the accountability that I need to do the things that I know I need to do even when I don't feel like doing them. That's what a good coach will do for you.
Uh, that great advice there, I have to say so myself. I like that. But I have to take a minute here and say hello to a few people that are watching this show. We
Sure.
have Ben Bruce, who is watching this show from his house in Lagos, Nigeria. So that's
Nice.
pretty cool. And
Nice.
then we have your wife, Rachel Tucker,
What's
who
up,
is
Rachel?
probably in the same house as you. And then we have my dad who's watching, and we have Christy Kurtner Olette and Brenda Ring and Robin Mosier Lococo and Holly Johnson. So thank you guys so much for watching with us. Please, if you would, hit that like button like 8 times in a row right here. I would appreciate that a lot. But so Curt, what? All right. Let's say somebody doesn't have a lot of expendable income. Oh, wait, I forgot one other thing. So he said he wasn't trying to sell you on stuff. And that's all fine and dandy, but I am. So here, scrolling across the bottom, it says, be sure to check out the store on my website, jeffmarconetjr.com, for your Make Every Second Count swag. And that helps support the show. So I definitely would appreciate you going and buying a shirt or a cup or mug or whatever you want. But so let's say there's all right. I'm sorry, my AC is not keeping up right now, and it's hot outside, and it's getting hot in here. But so let's say somebody doesn't have a lot of money, a lot of expendable income, because their money goes all to things they need in life,
Mhm.
and they want to hire a coach, but you say you get what you pay for coaches. So how exactly does somebody that doesn't have a lot of expendable income hire a good coach?
Well, that's a great question, Jeff. I'm a firm believer that it's never for a lack of resources, it's resourcefulness. When my wife and I lost everything and we were living in an apartment with one car to our name, and we just started our business and nobody would give us financing, no bank would approve us for a mortgage. We were able to buy $250,000 house from a doctor in town, Dr. Littlejohn in Piqua. And how I was able to negotiate that deal was because he saw that we had promise. We shared with him where we were going. We painted a vision, and we were able to work out a lease to option, on that home, right? So no bank would give us money. Nobody would give us money. When I bought both my Anytime Fitness franchises, we're talking with the largest fitness franchise in the world, Anytime Fitness. I bought both of those gyms owner financing. I negotiated a deal with the owner, and I bought those clubs with owner financing with very little money out of my pocket. One gym, zero money out of my pocket. Okay.
Wow.
um and so I say that just because many times, when people say I can't afford something versus how can I make this happen, that one difference in the way that they worded the question is an absolute game changer that now begins to create the RAS, the reticular activating system in your brain, to begin to start going and finding the answer that you want. So when it comes to a good coach, many times, Jeff, the amount of money that I've invested in coaching over the years, I've put on credit cards because I've put on 0% credit cards. I said, hey, I'm making a real estate investment right now where I'm funding a deal on a house flip that's going to make me $30,000 over the next 3 months, by funding the renovation of a property on a 0% credit card. So I will have zero money out of pocket to make $30,000 in the next 3 months. That's just creativity. That's just using my mind. Anybody could do this. Anybody could find a partner who says, hey, listen, I've got the house, but I just need money to fix the house. We can go on this deal together. And if you could go and you could get some business credit, right? So my point is this is you might not be able to go get a $40,000 business credit card, but you might be able to get $1,000 or $2,000. And then you have a choice. Here's what most people do. They get that credit card and they go buy stuff they don't need, right? They'll pay for a vacation. Nothing wrong with vacations. My wife and I go on a trip every 3 months and probably then some. But my point is that if there's a will, there's a way, and there's never a lack of resources. It's resourcefulness. So when you go to want to hire a coach, and many times I'll work with people because I understand that if I can help them get a vision, get a plan, begin to start making more money, now they have some extra resources that they can then invest more. But there's always a way to make it happen, Jeff. Always a way to make it happen.
That yeah, I appreciate that advice. While that advice was for other people, I also took some away from it too. So I find that to be great. Now, I know you wanted to come on this show for something. Now, I can't remember exactly what that was for. So, if you can remind me of that and possibly tell the audience about it at the same time, that would be awesome.
Yeah, well, I wanted to come on for two reasons. Number one, I saw Jeff post last night that he was looking for a guest for tonight to be on his show. He needed one. And I love what he does. I love his story. I love his energy. I love that he doesn't allow anything stand in his way from using the gifts that God has given him to spread positivity and encourage people to live their best life and make every second count. So that was one reason why I wanted to come on today, Jeff, was just to step in and fill a need that you needed, my friend. The
Well, I
second
appreciate
is
it.
Absolutely. The second is I have a message. Every opportunity that I get to encourage people, to love people, to empower people, whether it's through my books, through my podcast, through my coaching programs, I believe that that's just an opportunity. So it was a win-win. And anytime I get an opportunity, whether it's in anything I do, I always look to create a win-win. I believe that when we set a goal, friends, there's the what do we want, there's the why do we want it, but then the how. How do we accomplish something? And most of the times, if you just focus on the how, meaning helping others win, as Jim Rohn said it, as Zig Ziglar initially said it, if you help enough people get what they want, you can have
Mhm.
everything that you want. So my purpose for tonight, Jeff, was just to serve you, serve your audience, say, hey man, I love what you're doing, and I can take 30 minutes out of my night to step on and serve you, serve your community, man. So that's why I jumped on tonight, brother.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you do. But so I'm going to offer you something now.
Sure.
And this is actually a chance for you to tell people how they can get your book.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple different ways, guys. You can go to my website. It's Curt with a C, CurtDTucker.com. That's where you can find my podcast. You can find my book on there, some other resources. So Curt D is in Douglas, Tucker.com, CurtDTucker.com, or find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram. I'm there. send me a DM. Anything I can do to serve you, help you grow, help you take your life to the next level, create what I like to call the champion life. That's what I'm here for, man. I am here to serve any way I can.
Now that is great, and I love the living the champion life. That is a fantastic slogan there. But I need to take another second and just say thank you again for taking the time out of your evening to be here with me and my guests and or my audience. So I appreciate it.
Mm,
And
my
guys
honor.
out there, including you, Curt, I need you guys to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count.
Mm.
Why? Because you never know when those seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey, you guys have a great week. I'll see you back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, don't forget to make every second count. Thanks, Curt.
Thank you.